English Pro Max Podcast. Welcome back to the English Pro Max Podcast, the show that helps you grow your English and grow as a person at the same time.
Hey everybody, so glad you're here with us today. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing right now, welcome.
I'm Monica, and I want to say something before we even start today. The fact that you pressed play on an English podcast, that already says something good about you.
Seriously, you could be scrolling through videos of cute animals right now, but instead you're here working on your English. Respect.
Although, honestly, if you're doing both at the same time, watching animal videos with us playing in the background, we still appreciate you.
Multitasking English learner. That's a whole personality type.
It really is. Okay, Joey, I have to ask you. Look like you have something on your mind today. What happened?
Okay, so I have to tell you this. This morning I did something I almost never do. I was at the gym, right? And someone asked me in English what exercise I was doing next. And instead of just smiling and walking away, which is my usual strategy,
Your classic escape move.
my very reliable escape move, yes, but instead I just answered, in English, out loud, to a real human being standing in front of me.
Joey, that is huge. What did you say?
I said, I'm going to do some stretching, then probably the treadmill. That's it. Nothing fancy. But I said it, and the world did not end.
And how did it feel?
Honestly, like jumping into a cold swimming pool, terrifying for 1 second, then actually fine, then kind of great.
That is the most perfect description I have ever heard, and it connects so beautifully to what we're talking about today.
Because so many English learners are standing at the edge of that pool, toes on the edge, thinking about jumping, but never actually jumping.
They're analyzing the water temperature, they're checking if their swimsuit looks okay, they're planning the perfect dive.
And the whole time, other people are already swimming.
Exactly. So today's episode is all about that. We're calling it Stop Waiting, Start Speaking. It's about the moment you stop planning your English and actually use it.
We'll talk about why our brain hits the freeze button. We'll share some honest stories, and we'll give you real tools you can try today.
Not next week. Not when your English is good enough today.
Because here's the truth, your English is already good enough to start. You just don't believe it yet.
We'll work on that today too. But first, a small favor. If the English Pro Max podcast is part of your learning routine, please subscribe and leave us a comment below.
Just drop a comment below. Tell us your name, where you're from, and finish this sentence. I always freeze up in English when we can't wait to read it.
That comment is actually English practice. Your brain searches for the right words, builds the sentence, decides how to express a real thought. That's active learning.
Not just passive listening. You're producing English, and that matters.
We read every single comment, and they help us understand what you're going through. So please don't skip that step.
All right, quick note about today's level. This is a B1 episode, Intermediate English.
That means the language is natural and real, but we keep it clear, not oversimplified, not overwhelming, somewhere in the comfortable middle.
If you're a strong beginner, stay with us. This episode will gently stretch your English. That's a good thing.
And throughout the episode, we'll introduce some great vocabulary, power words related to our topic. We'll explain them naturally in conversation, and at the very end, we do our word tour.
The word tour is where we slow everything down, revisit the key words, and give you clear examples. It's one of the best parts of the show.
So don't turn it off early. Stay until the end. It's worth it.
Okay, let's get personal. Monica, tell me, when did your English brain completely shut down on you? Like a real moment, a painful one.
Oh, I have several, but okay, here's one. I was traveling alone. I needed to ask for directions to the train station. Simple, right? I had rehearsed the sentence in my head at least 10 times.
10 times in your head, fully prepared.
Fully rehearsed. I walked up to a woman on the street. She looked friendly. I opened my mouth and then nothing. Complete silence. My brain just went offline.
Like a phone that suddenly has 0 battery.
Exactly that. 1 second, full charge. Next second, black screen. I stood there for what felt like an hour. In reality, it was maybe 4 seconds, but it felt endless.
What did you do?
I said, train, where, and pointed in a random direction.
You communicated with 2 words and a hand gesture. That's honestly impressive.
The woman understood perfectly. By the way, she pointed me in the right direction. She wasn't confused. She wasn't judging me. She just helped.
And that's such an important detail. The other person usually just wants to help you.
Right? My brain built up this whole scary story, but the reality was just a kind woman pointing at a street sign.
Our brain is so dramatic sometimes.
So dramatic, it turns a simple conversation into a performance review.
Funny you should mention that because I had a moment like this in a completely different setting. I was on a group video call for a work project. International team, different countries, all speaking English.
Already a high-pressure setup.
Very high pressure, and someone asked me directly, "Joey, what do you think we should do here?" And I knew the answer. I had been thinking about it. I even had notes.
You had notes. You were prepared.
I had 3 bullet points. 3. But when everyone looked at me, or I guess when I saw everyone's little video squares looking at me, my mind went completely blank.
All 3 bullet points just vanished.
Gone. Like someone erased a whiteboard. I said, I think maybe the first option? And I didn't even explain why. I just offered a shrug through the camera.
A camera shrug. A classic.
And after the call, I sat there thinking, I knew what I wanted to say. The English was in my head. Why couldn't I get it out?
And that question, why couldn't I get it out, is really the heart of today's episode. Because for most learners, it's not actually about vocabulary, it's not about grammar. There's something else happening.
Something deeper. Something that grammar exercises can't fix.
Let's talk about what that something is. The first big thing is fear of judgment. And the word judgment here means someone looks at you and forms a negative opinion.
Like they look at you and think, wow, their English is really bad, even if they never say it out loud.
Right? They don't have to say it. Your brain says it for them. Your brain whispers it. Actually, sometimes your brain shouts it.
Your brain becomes the harshest critic in the room.
And the word critic is good here. A critic is someone who finds faults and points them out. Your inner critic is the voice inside you that notices every small mistake.
Inner critic. I love that term. Let's make sure everyone catches that. Inner critic. Inner means inside you. Critic means someone who points out what's wrong.
So, your inner critic is the strict, negative voice in your own head, not a real person, just a voice, but it feels very real.
And it has very bad timing. It always speaks up right when you need confidence the most.
Right? When you're about to speak, right? When you're about to take that jump into the cold pool?
It says things like, your accent is terrible, or they're all going to notice your mistake, or you're going to embarrass yourself.
And for a lot of learners, this inner critic has a history. It didn't just appear from nowhere.
That's so true. I remember a specific moment from school. We had an English presentation. I mispronounced a word. I said comfortable in a very wrong way.
Oh no, what happened?
2 classmates laughed. Not the whole class, just 2 people, for about 3 seconds, but I felt it for 3 years.
3 seconds of laughter, 3 years of memory.
I started reading faster in class after that, so fast that nobody could really hear me clearly. That was my solution. Just go so fast that no one notices the mistakes.
And that protective habit actually made your English worse because you stopped being heard.
Exactly. A bad experience teaches your brain, speaking is dangerous. And your brain remembers that lesson for a very long time.
So for many of our listeners, the freeze isn't about English at all. It's about an old memory, a moment when speaking felt unsafe.
And now even in completely new situations, completely different people, a totally safe environment, the alarm still goes off.
Let's talk about that word alarm. We're using it like a warning signal inside your brain. When you're about to speak English, your brain triggers an alarm.
Like a fire alarm in a building. It makes a loud noise. Everyone stops. Nobody moves until it stops.
But in this case, there's no actual fire. Your brain is just reacting to an old memory. The alarm is going off for no real reason.
And the second big thing that stops people from speaking is perfectionism. Now, perfectionism, we've all heard this word. But what does it actually mean in conversation?
Perfectionism means you set an impossibly high standard for yourself, and anything below that standard feels unacceptable.
So you don't just want to communicate, you want to communicate perfectly. Perfect grammar, perfect pronunciation, perfect word choice, all at the same time.
And while you're waiting for all three to come together perfectly, the conversation moves on without you.
It's like trying to take the perfect photo at a concert. You're adjusting the angle, fixing the brightness, waiting for the right moment. And by the time everything is perfect, the song is over.
I love that image. The concert is the conversation, and you missed it because you were adjusting the camera.
I once spent so long mentally editing a question I wanted to ask at a community event, and I mean a real question I genuinely wanted answered.
How long did you edit it?
The entire Q&A session. I was editing while other people were asking their questions, and then the moderator said, "Okay, we're out of time." And I just sat there with my perfect, beautifully crafted, completely unspoken question.
A masterpiece that nobody heard.
A masterpiece that lived and died inside my brain.
That's actually kind of tragic and very funny at the same time.
It's both. It's tragically funny, and I know our listeners have been there.
So many times you're at dinner with English speakers, you understand the whole conversation, you have something interesting to add. You start forming the sentence, you fix one word. Then you fix another word, and then someone changes the topic.
And you go home and tell yourself, "I'll speak next time." But next time, the same thing happens.
So let's stop that cycle. Let's talk about real tools, practical things you can try, starting today.
Tool number 1, shrink your sentence.
Shrink means to make something smaller, so instead of building a long, complex sentence in your head, find the smallest version of your idea.
For example, you want to say, "I have been experiencing a significant amount of difficulty with the current project at work."
Gorgeous sentence, very formal, very stressful to produce under pressure.
The shrunk version? "Work is really hard right now." Same idea, much less pressure on your mouth.
Or instead of, I find myself increasingly fascinated by the cultural differences between our two countries.
You can say, "I love learning about different cultures." Done. Clean, clear, real.
You are not writing a formal report. You are having a conversation. Conversations allow small sentences.
Small sentences are not lazy English. Small sentences are smart English.
Say that again, Joey, because that's important.
Small sentences are not lazy English. They are smart English. Native speakers use small sentences all the time.
Tool number 2, use bridge phrases. Now, a bridge phrase is a short phrase that buys you time. It keeps the conversation moving while your brain finds the next word.
A bridge connects two places, right? And a bridge phrase connects the moment you start talking to the moment you find your actual idea.
Things like, that's a good question, or let me think about that for a second, or, I would say.
These phrases do two things. They show you're engaged, and they give your brain a few extra seconds to find the right words.
In English, using a bridge phrase is completely normal and natural. Native speakers do it constantly.
So instead of silent panic while you search for words, you fill that moment with a bridge phrase. It sounds smooth. It feels less terrifying.
Tool number 3, keep a personal phrase bank. Now, a phrase bank is not a real bank. No money involved.
Unfortunately.
A phrase bank is a personal collection of sentences you practice until they feel automatic, until they live in your mouth, not just your brain.
So, for daily life, you might keep phrases like, "Could you say that again, please?" Or, "I'm not sure I understood. Do you mean?" Or, "That's really interesting, actually."
For professional settings, maybe I'd like to add something here, or can I ask a follow-up question? Or I see your point and I think,
You practice these phrases when there's no pressure, at home, on your commute, while you're journaling in the morning.
journaling, by the way, is when you write about your thoughts and feelings, usually in a personal notebook or app. It's a great habit for English practice.
Because when you write in English regularly, your brain starts building English sentences more naturally, and that carries over into speaking.
So the phrase bank lives in your journal, you add to it, you practice it, and when you need it in a real conversation, it just comes out.
Like muscle memory. Athletes practice movements so many times that in a game, they don't think, they just do.
Same with speaking practice. Enough phrases in low-stakes moments, and they become automatic in high-stakes moments.
And the term low stakes is useful here. Low stakes means the consequences are small, nothing serious happens if you make a mistake.
Talking to your houseplant in English, low stakes. Talking to your mirror while getting ready, low stakes. Recording a voice note on your phone just to hear yourself, low stakes.
Wait, talking to a houseplant?
Don't judge. Plants are excellent listeners. They never correct your grammar.
They're also completely non-judgmental, zero inner critic energy.
Exactly. So let's talk more about this idea of low-stakes practice environments, because one of the best things you can do is create a safe space where English feels like exploration, not examination.
Examination, that's when someone tests you, judges your performance, gives you a grade. And for a lot of learners, every English conversation feels like an exam.
But most conversations are not exams. Most conversations are just two people trying to understand each other.
The barista doesn't give you a score after you order your coffee. Your neighbor doesn't grade your pronunciation when you say good morning.
So one thing you can do is narrate your day out loud in English while you're doing things.
Like when you're making breakfast, okay, I'm putting the bread in the toaster. I'm going to have orange juice today. I feel a little tired, but also kind of excited.
It feels strange at first, a little silly, maybe, but your mouth is physically producing English sounds. Your brain is forming English sentences in real time.
That physical habit builds up, day by day, sentence by sentence.
Another low-stakes option, find a practice partner, someone who is also learning English, or someone patient who speaks it well.
You can be honest with them, say, "Hey, I'm working on my speaking confidence. Can we just chat sometimes? Even for 10 minutes?"
And if you don't have that person in your life right now, video call apps have language exchange communities, real people who also want to practice.
And here's something important. You don't have to be perfect for a language exchange. The whole point is that both people are learning. Both people will make mistakes. That's the deal.
Which brings us to something even deeper than the tools. It's about the story you tell yourself about your English.
The story inside your head, not the grammar, not the vocabulary, the narrative.
And a lot of learners have a very harsh narrative. It sounds like my English is embarrassing, or I've been studying for years and I'm still bad, or I'll never sound natural.
Those sentences are so heavy to carry, and you carry them into every conversation.
So let's try something. Let's replace those sentences with something more accurate, not fake positive, not my English is amazing and perfect. That's not honest either.
Yeah, toxic positivity isn't helpful. We want realistic and kind.
Toxic positivity. That's when someone pretends everything is great, even when it isn't. It sounds supportive, but it actually dismisses the real difficulty.
So instead of "my English is embarrassing," try "my English is a work in progress."
A work in progress means something that isn't finished yet, but you're actively working on it. It's moving, it's developing.
Instead of I've been studying for years and I'm still bad. Maybe try, I've been building this skill for years and building takes time.
See the difference? Same situation, different story, different feeling.
And the feeling matters, because if you feel ashamed before you even open your mouth, that shame will block your voice.
But if you feel curious, if you approach English like an explorer, not a student taking a test, your whole energy changes.
I actually tried this recently. Instead of thinking, I hope I don't make a mistake, I started thinking, I wonder what I'll learn from this conversation.
That tiny mental shift from fear to curiosity, from please don't judge me to let's see what happens.
And it genuinely changed how I showed up. I was more relaxed, I listened better, I even made a few mistakes and just kept going.
Kept going. That's the key phrase. Not got it perfect, not impressed everyone, just kept going.
Progress isn't always visible. Sometimes progress is just showing up and speaking even when you're nervous.
Sometimes progress is sending the imperfect voice note instead of deleting it.
Sometimes progress is saying train, where, and pointing, and still getting to the station.
All of it counts. Every single moment where you chose to speak instead of stay silent, that counts.
So here's your challenge for today. Just one sentence. Out loud. In English. To yourself, to a friend, to your plant, to your phone recorder.
One sentence about how you're feeling right now, or what you did today, or something you're looking forward to. Just one sentence.
And if you want to share it, drop it in the comments. We would genuinely love to read it.
Okay, it is word tour time. This is the part where we slow down, breathe, and revisit the power words from today.
Let's go through them one by one. Nice and clear.
First word, freeze up. To freeze up means to suddenly stop, to become still because of fear or nervousness. For example, I always freeze up when someone asks me a question in English. Or, she froze up during the presentation, but then took a breath and continued.
Freeze up, your body and your mouth stop working for a moment. Usually because your brain is overwhelmed.
Next, inner critic. Inner means inside you. Critic means someone who finds faults. So your inner critic is the negative voice in your own head. For example, my inner critic tells me my accent is terrible. Or try to quiet your inner critic. It's too harsh.
Most people have an inner critic. The goal isn't to delete it. The goal is to stop letting it run the show.
Next word, judgment. Judgment means forming an opinion about someone, often a negative one. For example, I was scared of judgment, so I didn't speak. Or, people are usually too busy with their own lives to spend time on judgment.
And that second example is so true. Most people are not analyzing your English. They're thinking about their own stuff.
Next, shrink. To shrink means to make something smaller. In our context, shrink your sentence. For example, when I feel nervous, I shrink my sentence to just the key words. Or, don't try to be fancy, shrink the idea down to its simplest form.
Smaller sentence, less pressure, more chance of actually speaking.
Next, bridge phrase. A bridge phrase is a short expression that connects your silence to your next idea. It buys you time. For example, I used "that's a good point" as a bridge phrase while I thought of my answer. Or, learning a few bridge phrases made my conversations feel so much smoother.
Bridge phrases are like training wheels. They help you get moving when you feel stuck.
Next, phrase bank. A phrase bank is your personal collection of practiced English sentences. For example, I add new expressions to my phrase bank every week. Or, having a phrase bank means I always have something ready to say.
It's not about memorizing everything, just a small collection of useful, natural phrases. Even 10 is enough to make a real difference.
Next, low stakes. Low stakes means the situation has small consequences. Nothing serious happens if you make a mistake. For example, talking to myself while I exercise is a low-stakes way to practice English. Or start with low-stakes conversations to build your confidence.
Low-stakes practice is how you train for high-stakes moments. You don't train for a marathon by running a marathon on day one.
Next, work in progress. This means something that isn't finished but is actively developing. For example, my English is a work in progress and that's okay. Or, every expert started out as a work in progress.
Work in progress removes the shame. It doesn't say broken, it says being built.
Next, toxic positivity. This is when someone uses overly positive language to dismiss real difficulties. It sounds supportive, but it actually ignores the real struggle. For example, saying, "just believe in yourself," is a bit toxic positivity. It doesn't help. Or, "I don't want toxic positivity, I want honest encouragement."
There's a big difference between "you're doing great, nothing is hard," and "this is genuinely difficult and you're still showing up."
And our last power phrase, keep going. Two simple words, but incredibly powerful. To keep going means to continue even when it's hard. For example, I made a mistake in the middle of my sentence. I felt embarrassed, but I kept going. Or, keeping going is more important than getting it perfect.
Keep going. That is maybe the most important English phrase for any learner.
Not be perfect, not impress everyone, just keep going.
All right, that was our word tour for today. If you want, go back and listen to that section again. Repeat the example sentences out loud.
Production practice, you're not just hearing the words, you're saying them. That's how they move from your brain into your mouth.
And that's what this whole episode has been about, really. Moving from your brain into your mouth.
You have more English than you think. The knowledge is there, the vocabulary is there, the grammar, maybe not perfect, but good enough, it's there.
What's blocking you isn't a lack of English. It's the fear of using it imperfectly in front of people.
And the cure for that fear is not more studying, it's more speaking.
Even messy speaking, even nervous speaking, even train where speaking.
All of it builds the habit, all of it trains your brain that speaking is safe.
One sentence today. That's all we're asking. One real sentence in English out loud, somewhere in your day.
And if you want to share it with us, you know where to go. The comments are waiting. We are reading them. You're not doing this alone.
We're all works in progress here, Monica included.
Oh, absolutely. Me included. My inner critic still shows up sometimes. But now I know how to say thanks for sharing, but I'm speaking anyway.
I love that. Thanks for sharing, inner critic. Now, excuse me while I use my bridge phrase and keep going.
That's the energy. That's the whole energy.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today on the English Pro Max podcast.
If this episode helped you, share it with one person who also freezes up when speaking English. Maybe the two of you can become practice partners.
Two works in progress, practicing together. That's a beautiful thing.
Keep speaking, keep going, and we'll be right here with you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye.